Alright, if you're watching this, you've probably towed something really heavy with your Ram 1500 and realized how much they suck for towing heavy. So you'll be putting in these AirLift helpers in the back. They go inside your actual coil spring, which should make them really easy. They have these in the regular and the HD. The regular does 1,000 pounds, the HD does 2,000 pounds. So these are the HDs. 1,000 pounds would probably be plenty, but these will give me some extra in case I need it. They slide right up through the coil spring. Should take about an hour to put in. Let's see. One thing to note is you definitely want to put chocks under the front wheels because you will be lifting up both back tires off the ground on the truck. And of course that will make it roll down the hill wherever you're parked at. You don't want it running you over. So chalk the front tires. I actually have a drop hitch, as you can see, that I used on my Excursion. So I'm actually going to just jack it up from there with the jack and get both tires up as far as I can. That way it opens up these springs and will let me slide these up into it. All right, just a look inside the box here. Got the actual bags themselves, which go inside the coils. Air line. Run it back to the valve. Here's the stuff for the valve. They say drill a 5/16 hole, and then you can put this Schrader valve wherever you want. It's got the little T, so you can tee them in, so you can have the same pressure in both bags. And it's got these little spacers that fit over the top after you install them like that. All right, now on these, you want to unscrew the cap. Now the air will flow out. If you know anything about plastic, you want to make sure you are not trying to smush and fold these in the cold. That will probably put creases in it and damage it. So it's nice and hot today, so we don't really have a problem. So they say to fold it into a hot dog shape. So I'm going to smush the air out of there as best I can. Got it smushed. Now I just got to get to the hot dog shape. It is not easy. All right, got into the hot dog shape. That was not easy. Basically need to smash it with your body, get as much air out as you can, and then try to fold it. Once you have it in this shape, then it's a little bit easier. You see I got these zip ties on there. That's helping hold it. And you can actually zip it down as tight as you can get it. And now that should actually just slide right up in there. We'll do it to the other one now. Had to go get one more zip tie. right, there you go. Both of them rolled up like a hot dog. Going to, actually I'll just leave these caps off. They say to put the caps on, slide them in there, and then take the caps off so they can reinflate, but they're gonna reinflate once I clip the zip ties. It also says valve stems up, so I'm gonna go ahead and go under and try to get these things in there now. All right, I got a pretty good angle here. Again, valve stem side you want to put up there first. And leaving the cap off does help it. I don't know if you can hear it compress a little bit extra as you need it, which it did need to squidge into there. And you see, I'm kind of pushing it up. And there it is inside. Now I'm going to clip these zip ties, which will let it inflate the way it's supposed to in there. Now this fitting right here is what screws onto the top, and then the hose actually goes in. So I'm actually going to put this in, and then I'm probably going to put the hose on first. And they have little clamps that come with it as well. These little spring-loaded ones that fit over it. I'm probably going to put that on first before I try to screw this in, because this does rotate around there. That way I'm not trying to reach up into the spring and try to put the airline on like that. But I will go ahead and clip the zip ties holding it. There goes that. Give it a little help to reinflate. This is just basically undoing the hot dog bends that you put in there. All right, you still see there's a little seam right here. It's not all inflated. That'll come out when I put a couple PSI in it. I'm gonna go ahead and try to reach up in there and put my connector on with the hose attached. All right, I went ahead and pulled the inner fender liner because it was definitely gonna be way too hard to try to reach up in there. As you can see it pretty clearly now. I'll be running the airline up right through there and then back along there, somewhere to mount it in, probably on the underside of the rear bumper or something. That way it'd be hidden but easily accessible. To remove that, it's just a bunch of these 8mm screws, and then you just pull the liner mainly straight down to get it to break loose, and then it'll come out pretty easy. So yeah, go do that right there. Now I'm gonna put the connector on, put that and that donut right over top of it as well. All right, so the way I'm gonna run it, they do have a T, and it's just one big roll of line, so you can cut it however you want for your installation. I'm going to have the T right here, and I'm gonna run the wire from the other airbag as well, tee it in right there, and I'm gonna run it back along the top of the frame back there, zip tie it up real good, and then put it in one of these holes right here. These are the mounting holes for stuff like that, and it looks like they're actually already the perfect size, as you can see. So I'm just gonna mount it right there, make it easy. All right, so you just pinch that together, slide that up on there a little ways, get your connector. There you go. I'm just do it on the other ones. I'm gonna have this run to this airbag, bring in the line from the other side, and then run that back to the back. All right, before I put the fender liners back on, I'm gonna show you the finished product of everything. So you gotta make sure everything's tight. This is nice and tight on top of there. It does have that plastic donut I showed you earlier, which the point of that donut is to sit up in this mount so that it can cushion in between there where the weight's actually going to be sitting on it and bumping it. It actually fits so perfectly, I was actually able to push it up and it kind of like squishes in the spot and holds its position perfectly, which kept it out of the way for tightening this up. Same thing on both sides. So the donuts are in there. You can kind of see it right there through the top. The air line goes up through there. They say to leave slack, so it's got play to move. Obviously this section actually doesn't, move. This is actually just rigid stuff that's still. But if you see, there is a loop right there that goes onto the top, and it gives it plenty of space to move. Right there is the T connection. This one right here in the back actually heads back towards the back again. This one goes right here, secured there, and goes all the way across. You can see that line. You can make it out pretty good right there. There you go. Goes all the way across, straight over like that. They do say to keep it about 6 inches away from the exhaust lines, make sure it doesn't melt. And again, it's zip tied there as well, and it goes back. It runs up all just under the bed, over the frame, all the way to the back. I'll show you the other side. Same thing, ran all the way across there, around here, and same loop up underneath there to give it plenty of space to move as it needs to. Again, it says to leave some space for it to move, but it's not going to move a lot because basically it's going to be sitting on the bottom mount and be sandwiched in there, and basically it's not going to move other than slight up and down motions towards the bed as you drive and it rocks. Those went all the way back across, and that hole was the perfect size. And there it is installed right there. You can actually see in between here, there's an opening right there, and it was a good spot to zip tie it again with a little tiny loop for slack, so we're not making any sharp turns that might mess up the air. And there it is right there. So what I'm gonna do now is put a little pressure in there so it can inflate the bags. I'll go to like 10 PSI, and then I'll slowly lower the truck down onto it. All right, turn it off. Off. That was me just turning the compressor on. You see now it's fully inflated, the shape it's supposed to be. All right, it's on there. Everything works good, no leaks. I did back up and think it was sitting higher, so I did this little test. I deflated it and then reinflated it to 20. And it does raise the back of the truck up about a ½ inch. So I'm gonna wait to post this till I do till I tow something heavy, and I'll let you know. I just want to say before I forget, the total install time was about 1.5 hours. Really not that bad. Kind of a pain in the butt. The worst part is taking out the fender liners and putting them back, which is of course all those little bolts around the edge right there, and then the one there on both sides. And you know, fender liners like to fight you going back in. All right, got a load on it now, about 10,000 pounds, and you see it's sitting nice and level. I only got about 20 pounds in the airbag, so I think it's gonna make a big difference. Just did about 40 miles with it, with the new airbags. I was counting on the drive over, and it's probably around 9,000 pounds total. Normally just the trailer alone makes the truck noticeably sag. Now, I've only got 20 pounds of pressure as opposed to the maximum of 50 in those rear airbags, and I would say the truck is sitting completely level. The difference in highway driving is night and day. It was so that if you changed or made a small lane correction at all, you would get a really bad feeling of trailer sway. You know, it start wobbling on you a little bit. That's completely gone. It drives fantastic now, so 10 of 10 would recommend. Again, these are 130 bucks on Amazon. I got the heavy duties instead of the 1,000 pound ones. These are 1,000 HD, which is actually 2,000 pounds of capacity. I think the 1,000s would be plenty, especially being that I only have 20 PSI in here, but very pleased overall. They don't sponsor me in any way. This is just my honest opinion on it. And that's all for the video. Definitely a success. Would definitely recommend it. Good luck.